ladies and gentlemen, Captain Shaq here, and welcome to Top 10, the future of PC gaming in 2016, or basically the stuff that I'm super excited for 2016. All right, let's get into it. Now, bear in mind, not all these are in any really particular order. I am kind of counting down to my most favoritist franchise or possible game that I can't wait to play, but it's not really any particular order. This stuff moves every other day, depending on what new news bits come out. Let's get started. Number 10, No Man's Sky. Yeah, it's a title that's been hyped for quite some time. We never knew when it was going to come out. Well, it comes out in 2016, and it's coming out for PC and consoles. So this one, it's on my list, but I'm a little hesitant. Sean Murray, he's the guy that's making it. He says there's going to be 18 quadrillion stars, and you're going to be able to go out and explore, and it has a really cool procedural generation system that not only produces awesome planets that look really neat, and then it uses creature parts to make interesting, unique creatures on every planet that you can explore, and every player can add to the galactic atlas, which is like the big library in the sky, where you get data on all these creatures, and then you upload it to the server, and then other people can be like, wow, Captain Shaq spotted this one creature, and he named it Shaq Creature on Planet Bob, because I'm terrible at naming things. Oh, very immersive. Yeah, the game looks kind of cool, but here's the thing. What are you going to be doing on 18 quadrillion star systems? It's kind of got the Elite Dangerous issue of, all right, sure, you've got all this, but what are you going to do on it? And the gameplay that we've seen hasn't been all that interesting. Sure, you can fly from planet to planet, and you can check out the ravines and the rivers and see these different creatures, but these different creatures are built on parts, all using very similar animations. That being said, the factions, how do we interact with the factions? Are there going to be faction wars going on? Can we trade? Can we work with these factions and work against these factions? He's been very vague about the actual gameplay mechanics and how the game is going to work. It's going to be multiplayer, but not really. That's been a thing that's been it's very vague, the whole thing. So No Man's Sky, am I interested? Yes, it is a huge universe, so is Elite Dangerous. But I don't play Elite Dangerous that often because, well, there's not a whole lot to do, and what you can do isn't all that interesting. So here's hoping No Man's Sky is, well, something awesome. It's on my list. Number 9, the only traditional, and I say that very loosely, Black Desert. The only traditional MMO on this list. Black Desert is a sandbox MMO that is coming over from Korea. Now, everybody who bought into ArcAge just cringed deeply in their soul right now. But it's true. Black Desert's on my list because, one, it is the best looking MMO that we've seen in a long time, and it's a few years old, which is really sad when you think about it. It's a sandbox with some really cool mechanics. You use nodes, you can invest into cities to do trade runs, you can breed horses, you can fish, you can do all these things that were kind of a staple of, well, I hate to say it, but ArcAge over with Tryon. But they've already come out with the fact that it's not going to be pay to play. They're not going to sell you labor pots or do any of that bullshit that Tryon pulled and are still trying to recover from years later. Black Desert, you have our hopes really high, and I hope you don't suck. CBT2 starts on the 18th of this month, actually, when this goes live, so hopefully we get a surprise, and it's really good. If you want to know more about Black Desert, I have a top 10 on that, and I will link it here in the description and on the screen somewhere, so check that out if you want to know more about the cool, unique mechanics that one has to offer. All right, moving on. The first mod on the list, and I think the only mod on the list, Sins mods. With a focus on Star Trek Armada 3. That's right, Star Trek Armada 3 came out a while ago, and I covered it on my channel all the way through the last year of its development. It's a great mod for Sins of a Solar Empire. It's probably the last good Star Trek mod that we all got to play. Star Trek anything, really, maybe except for the online one. I know a lot of you guys are fans of that. Star Trek Armada 3 is getting an expansion called The Final Frontier. It's going to add, well, exploration to a Sins game. It's adding a whole bunch, and I mean a huge number of well-known and lesser-known planets, gravity wells, events into the game to make it feel like you're actually exploring something substantial instead of just your next resource node that you're going to exploit, which is what you do in a Sins game. I mean, honestly, you build up a bunch of stuff, you send it over, you take the planet, you move on to the next one, right? That's the Sins mechanic. Well, their goal is to make it feel like a real exploration experience, with the whole idea that it's, infinite combinations and infinite possibilities, however that quote goes. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but they're gonna have new effects, new textures, the deeper customization of, I guess, your research, I believe. It's looking kind of good, and the new textures look great. I recommend you check out their ModDB page to see more on what's going on there. This was just announced not too long ago, so there isn't a whole lot of information, but what is there looks really good. Number 7, Elite Dangerous's development. Now, Elite Dangerous had a release that was a little on edge with people, Horizons this year, It allowed you to land on moons and drive buggies around. Is it cool? Yes. Does it add a lot to the game? Not really. I mean, the mission system is still kind of wonky and meh, and what you can do in Elite Dangerous is still kind of meh. Even though the combat is really good, like, they nailed the immersion of being inside the cockpit, right? And they gave you this big universe to explore, but unlike something like, say, EVE Online, where you feel like you can really make an impact on the universe through the trading and the faction warfare and all that stuff, in Elite, you're just flipping colors for NPC factions, saying, oh, I just pushed their border, 1-star system over, or you're doing trade runs that just seem to take forever and don't really pull you in, and that's a big problem I have with Elite. But why is it on my list of most anticipated? Well, the expansion for Horizons, if you bought into it, is more than just what you got. You're supposed to also be getting walking on ships, customizing your commander, actually making a character, and multi-crewed ships later this year. That's starting to sound like everything that Star Citizen is shooting for, right? Well, sorta, kinda. And I can't wait to see what they're able to do. I've actually talked with the lead developer of Elite Dangerous at E3 this year, and they've got big goals. And they're, with the CQC that just came out, there's a lot of cool stuff coming out for that. So watching Space Sims develop, and there's 2 of them right now, which is more than we've had in a long time that are in active development, I'm curious to see where they go with it. So that made my number 7. Moving on, number 6. Speaking of Star Citizen is my number 6. Squadron 42. Squadron 42 is supposed to come out in 2016. It is the single-player focused story that's going to introduce us to the universe itself. That's right. We're actually going to get it to fly around and have a fully voiced, fully motion-captured storyline within the universe that gets us ready for the MMO persistent universe side, the PU side of it. I hate the name PU, it's terrible. Yeah, but anyways, the main server side. Now, the MMO section is not going to be out in 2016, but Squadron 42 is, and they've got big names in this. I mean, they've got Mark Hamill in here, and a host of others. I recommend you look up the list. I'm sure you're going to recognize a bunch of people. I can't think of the guy's name right now, but the guy who played Gimli is actually going to be in it, and a few others. There's a bunch of trailers that can get you into the story, but nothing is going to pull us into the universe like a single-player, completely immersive experience. A cinematic experience, if you will, and I say that kind of cringing because I hate the word cinematic. Anyways, the experience should be really cool, and with the level of immersion and detail that Star Citizen has, I can't wait. I can't wait for a sci-fi, first-person, also cockpit flying, immersive experience. The only thing that's going to be better, or going to make it better, is going to be having something like the Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive, which we'll get to a little bit later. Number 5, Fallout 4. Check, that came out last year. What the hell are you talking about? Well, Fallout 4, if you notice, hasn't been on my channel often after the release, and that's because I'm kind of waiting for the mod packs, really. I'm waiting for the development kit to come out for modders. It hasn't come out yet, and we still don't have a date on it. There's supposed to be some news on console modding coming out soon, and it's not going to do us any good if we don't get the tools to do so, but how I play a game like Oblivion, a game like Skyrim, or Fallout 3 or New Vegas, I play it when it first comes out, and then I kind of set it aside, and I wait for the mods to come out. The real mods. I'm not talking about like, hey, I added an AK-47 to the game, or I added a new outfit to the game. I'm talking about the ones that revamp the perk trees to make it a more immersive experience, or add something like camping did with Skyrim that really revamped how you see the world when you have to prepare for a journey with something like Frostfall. That's what I'm looking for Fallout 4. It had a lot of limitations in how it brought you into the game, how you built a character. I no longer felt in Fallout 4 like I was building a custom character that fit a history or a background that I came up with, and I was role-playing this character. It was more like, here's a bunch of fun tools, go and unlock them and blow stuff up. Constant firefights and whatnot, and that kind of took me out of it. So I've been waiting for those mods. We still don't have the tool set, but in 2016 we're going to have it, and it's going to be amazing to see mods in that engine. Fallout 4 is beautiful, and there's a lot of things that I love about it. I can't wait to mod it. So that's why it's still on my list. Moving on to another game that I've already played that you guys haven't yet, and it's coming out real soon, XCOM 2. Now, I'm a huge fan of XCOM and the last expansion that they came out with, Enemy Unknown, XCOM, and Enemy Within. XCOM 2, I've already played it. It is fantastic. I love it. It is like a love letter to anybody who enjoyed XCOM 1 and its expansion, right? Of the revamped versions. It's got more of all the things we love. It's got procedurally generated levels to keep things feeling fresh. It's got events where the enemy is actually out against you, and they've got things where they can win. They've actually got campaign objectives that you have to fight against and choose which ones you stop. Do you stop the research that the enemy is doing that'll get them better armor on their basic infantrymen? Or do you go after that other big objective that's going to give them some other big bonus and take out like their supply bases or their research bases? It looks so good. It is a lot of fun to actually play. And the kicker that I could not believe, PC only, and it's gonna have workshop support for modding. So the mods are gonna keep this title going for years. I got a feeling I'm gonna be reporting on mods like Sins 10 years later for this game, or like Empire War, for XCOM 2, that just revamp how the game plays and the units that you can build. I'm excited, real excited for that one. I'm almost as excited for that as I am for our number 3. The VR revolution.
I may throw up on you.
Okay, maybe not the VR revolution, but the Oculus Rift and the HTC Revive, they've changed the name, or the Steam VR. These two juggernauts in the VR industry are coming out this year, right? They've already got pre-orders out for the Oculus Rift. If you're watching this video after like a month or so, well, the Oculus should already be out. And the HTC Revive is on the way, and pre-orders for that have already started. So I am incredibly excited for this. I have a DK2, that's the Oculus Development Kit 2, and I'm blown away with the possibility of it. Now, the DK2 is not worth buying. If you see them up on eBay and you're like, well, I'll just buy that, it's cheaper. It's not worth buying because of the low resolution. It'll probably just make you sick. And it's a little bit uncomfortable, but that's not the device that people are gonna have in their homes now. The new Oculus is reported to be a lot better, higher resolution, higher frame rates. It looks so good. And now we've got the HTC Revive, which allows you to actually set up sensors, which ping off the headset, which tell it where you're at, so you can actually walk around your room. I mean, imagine if you could actually get out of your chair in Star Citizen and take a walk around. Now, you're gonna have to have a mega rig to do that because you have to run the game with like a 90 FPS or some shenanigans. So for the people who can afford it, it's gonna be crazy fun. For the people who can't, because they're saying the HTC Revive is gonna be even more expensive, but this is just version 1, right? This is new technology that's just coming out on the market. As they get later versions, just like when we got 1920 by 1080 screens, just when we got new video cards, it's all super expensive when it first comes out, and then the price will steadily get lower. So, bring on the VR goodness, and hopefully backwards compatibility for games like something like Skyrim or Fallout New Vegas, which I've already actually played Fallout New Vegas with VR. I'll try to put a link to that in this video so you guys can check it out. It is an amazing experience, actually, especially if you have the first-person mod. Moving on, Warhammer Total War. Now, I'm a huge Warhammer fan, but of the 40K variety. I'm a huge sci-fi fan, if you guys know that on my channel. That's basically what my channel is. So, Warhammer Total War, you're on there because I had a 45-minute chat with your developers at E3 this year, and man, like they're so passionate about making this title. Keep in mind, right? Warhammer Total War, the Total War guys, the developers for it, have been making historically accurate games. They've been tied to being within the realm of reality for so long, making historical games that have to fit in with what kind of technology that the races had, or the people had, or the country had at that time, and what the events were, and making these campaigns. Now, they get to go chains off crazy with a fantasy game, and they're doing it too. I mean, they've got like new mechanics in the overmat for the orcs that I really dig, where they actually have to always have something for the orcs to fight, or your orcs will start fighting amongst themselves. They've got to rally behind you, or they'll break off into splinter groups, because you gotta be that war boss. It's big and tough. This is just one side, mind you. And brings on the fight to somebody, or your forces are gonna actually fight themselves, and you're gonna start losing units. That's a cool game mechanic that fits in with the lore. They've got the winds of magic that are flowing through the world, and it'll actually change how strong and powerful your mages are on the battlefield based on where these winds are flowing. Another lore thing. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff in this title, and they're keeping with, it looks great. The engine that they've been working on for so many years is paying off because it looks fantastic. So Warhammer Total War, you're gonna be seeing that on the channel. And the last one on the list, number 1, Mass Effect Andromeda. I know there's not a lot of information about this one, and a lot of you guys are like, F EA, I don't want to play another EA game after Battlefront and after Mass Effect. And Mass Effect 3's ending, I can't take it anymore. I want to give them any more money. Well, you know what? Mass Effect 3, for how bad the ending was, it was I spent 25 hours, I think, into my Mass Effect game, maybe 30. I did just about everything in that. And up until that ending, it was fantastic. It was one of the best gaming experiences of that year, building up to that ending. And I will not discount how good that story was and the connections that I made with those characters through that journey, just because of the last 10 minutes, even if it was poor. It does suck, and it is blemished by that, and it will be for the rest of time. But, that journey to get there was just so good. I mean, there were parts, and I won't give any spoilers away here, but there were parts where I teared up, especially when I lost certain characters, and just like, no, and there were decisions that I made, and Anyways, Mass Effect Andromeda, they dropped a trailer on us at E3 this year. I was actually at the EA showing for that. I was sitting in the crowd, and they played that Johnny Cash trailer that just, yes, I want it. I'm hoping there's a bigger focus on multiplayer. Mass Effect 3's multiplayer had me addicted. Me and Vale 4, we were just so addicted to that and played it for so long. Now, it was unlock packs, and you do these missions that tied into the universe, and it kind of, and I say that in quotations, affected the main story by giving you war points. Did it really? No, but it was just neat that it was some way tied in. I'm hoping that they do more with the multiplayer, maybe even go bigger and better, and do something out of the box. It's a new universe, it's new characters, and I can't wait to jump back into the Mass Effect universe. Alright guys, well that's my list of things that I'm super excited for 2016. There was a lot of stuff that I cut out of here. There's a lot of mod stuff that I cut out of here. There's a lot of cool things that are in the works, especially for games like Skyrim and for Fallout 4. Big teams starting big projects, some I can talk about, some I can't. But we'll see how it goes. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about here on the XP Gamers, and I'm gonna continue to make videos this year, starting in the new year. And if you enjoyed this video and you wanna watch more of the modding, sci-fi gaming goodness, let me know in the comments below what you're excited for. Maybe I'll be surprised by something that I don't know about already. And if you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later.